Rick, it's so good to see you again, man. Around the world and back again.
Well, not quite around the world, but thank you, Keith. It's great to be back home and back into the routine, right? Everybody's got to do that after the new year.
Yeah, it's so great to have you back. We missed you for the last 6 weeks, man. Welcome back.
Thanks, Keith. Great to be back.
Awesome. I'm sure the listeners are happy to see you too. The title of this podcast will be The Ultimate Betrayal. I'll kick it off, Rick, if that's okay with you.
Sure, of course.
When I think back on my life, there were certain narratives that I had that I really, I guess, believe that were true. The first one I think started back when I was thinking about my stepfather and just, the kind of childhood I had with where he was in his own journey, not being very conscious, not working on himself, and he suffered from alcoholism. So there was quite a bit of abuse. So I felt betrayal by, the lack of having a good parent. And then my biological father wasn't in my life very much for several reasons, but there was some level of betrayal I felt there. And then when I was 17 and I didn't have a place to stay. And I went to live with my aunt, and it was one point she was having a tiff with my mom. And so she told me to leave, and I felt betrayal there. And so along the way, there's been all these things that have really, I guess, could be categorized as being letting down or betrayal. But as I start to do the practice, I really get to see that none of that was really betrayal. It's not about what other people have done to me. If I was to say that was a betrayal, it was my ego that really betrayed me along the way. And it's not its job to make me happy. Its job to it's does exact opposite in the name of trying to make me happy. But it was really that, Rick. The betrayal being that there was so many opportunities along the way that I could have, woke up. That there were people that told me along the way, Keith, I know what happened with your stepfather. That's in the past. You can't change it. Let it go. Nope. I held on to it like this. There were times when I went to Yuma, when I was living in Yuma with the Marine Corps, and I wanted to be in Tennessee or anywhere but Yuma. There was this young guy who was my age who was showing me a different path of just fully accepting and surrendering to being in Yuma. And he made the most of the 4 years he was there. You know, I I missed that opportunity. Whenever I had a manager who I thought she'd give me all this trust, this choice and autonomy, and they had a completely different management style. More like micromanaging. It was me who didn't develop the capacity to handle being able to work with somebody who had a different management style. So along the way, all the little things that have happened to where I felt like it was somebody else's fault or the world had dealt me a bad hand. It was me missing all those other opportunities that were right there, and I didn't see them. And now that I'm awake, Rick, it's like I can't unsee the path. I'm so grateful. So I let go of the betrayal of this narrative that others have betrayed me and let me down, and I've really become present to that. In some ways, I let myself down. And you could say, well, you didn't know any better. But what happened when I did know better? And I still kept letting myself down. Some people do it with we talk about this time of the year, and some people make resolutions. And I offer that, okay, there's a resolution here, which means that you know better. So why are you still not working out? Why are you still allowing excuses or somebody's birthday to get in the way of what your nutrition goals are? Why are you still holding on to something that happened past with a divorce or relationship ending and this bitterness that you have? You're doing that. So you're betraying yourself when it comes to this present moment. And I'm just living a completely different way, Rick. And what's really freed me has been really being committed to this practice that says there's no betrayal going on unless you're doing it to yourself. And what are your thoughts, Rick?
Well, that's a lot there. First, let me say, blown away by the sharing. Those are serious things that happened to you all the way through, and there wasn't any getting around the idea that they really occurred and they really had an effect on you. And I don't think we want to ignore trauma or ignore things that happen to us that are terrible, that we think are terrible. But on the other hand, we have to remember that everything that happens to you gives you a choice.
Yes.
And as long as you are continuing to make a choice that keeps you limited and keeps you resentful or keeps you in that negative state of mind, that's how your life is going to run. And so what you did was you moved out of that and you recognized that there were other opportunities of growth, other opportunities to see things. It took you a while. I mean, it takes all of us a while because we're really focused on the hurts. We're trying to understand why we do what we do, and often we say to ourselves, "Well, I have no choice. This is the kind of thing that has occurred, and it's awful, and there's no way around it, and they are terrible, and how could they do this?" And but the point is that doesn't get you anywhere.
No.
The point is it doesn't help you cope with whatever life is throwing at you, and it makes it worse. It makes it more. It's like dealing with something when you're crippled. You know, it's trying to run a race when your leg is you have a sprained ankle and not working. Um, so I just want to commend you for bringing those examples up. Those are not easy things to concede or to discuss, and yet you pass them. But look at the other thing that's important with that. That was a long road for you. It wasn't like you overnight you said, "Well, this is, you know, something I'm just going to let my ego go. I'm just going to let it go and I'll be fine." It takes a while. You have to get into this groove. There has to be a ritual
Yeah.
about how you let go. And I think also one of the things that may have happened in your life has happened in mine is that I get to the point where it's like a gear freeze. You know, if you're in that negativity for so long, the gears don't mesh anymore. Your life doesn't work. You're constantly grinding. You're
Yeah.
fighting. You're always fighting. And when that happens to me, I have to sit back and think, well, what in the world am I doing here? I'm profiting from, or I'm enjoying, I'm enjoying all the reasons why I should be debilitated, right? Right? I mean, that's what I do. I mean, I think humans do that in general. We think of all of the reasons why life is dysfunctional and why you're entitled to be a victim. Now, there definitely is a victim nature about this,
Yeah.
but
No
it's
question.
also, but there's also a growth that
Hmm.
comes from that if you can leave it behind. And again, we always say in these podcasts, you need professional counseling a lot of times to do that. You need professional help to do that. But by God, staying in that condition where you feel betrayed, where you feel that life has let you down, not productive, and it's not going to lead you to anywhere where you're going to feel happy and internally driven and on top of the world.
Yeah, I totally agree, Rick. You know, when I think about the place that I was in, I just continue to bring that victimhood and betrayal to every single moment until, you know, I woke up. And the thing about it was, it didn't sound like betrayal to me. You know,
Mm.
what it was it felt like, well, I should be protesting this. This is a problem. And I would say I'm no victim here, you know, but I was exactly it. You know, I was complaining about it in it, you know, and demanding that it be a different way than it is. It's the past means that I can't change it, or obsessing about the future. All of that behavior is taking me out of this moment. And left and right, I was throwing these moments away, betraying, you know, my opportunity to have a completely different experience in this moment, regardless of whatever life situation was showing up, regardless of what my circumstance was at the moment. In those moments, there's still a choice. And I got really wise to not betraying myself anymore, you know, not letting my ego do that, and really to let my conscious self run my life. And man, it's just been sweet ever since. And it's not, it's no picnic. I mean, I'm still
Yeah,
pruning left and right, but I'm aware, which is the first step. So,
that's
Rick,
it.
thank you so much.
Hey, thank you, Keith. It's really great to be back. And I just love learning from you and hearing about your experiences. So thanks again for sharing something so close to the heart and so tender and difficult.
Great. Thank you, Rick.